Hello and welcome to the Blues Focus podcast with me, your host, John Graham. Once again, many thanks for taking the time to download this pod or view it on our YouTube channel. As ever, the two Toms with me. How are you guys?
Good, thanks, mate.
Yeah, not bad, mate, thanks.
So, 24 hours has passed since the away performance at Bournemouth. Obviously, lots to cover off. I think lots about the performance, lots about individual, performances as well. And also, where do we go from here? Obviously, nothing's happened, no major announcements over the last 24 hours. So I think we are where we are for the foreseeable. So, Tom G, firstly, over to you. Thoughts when the team was announced?
Again, I think it was, like the last couple of games, I think a bit of disappointment, really. Having said that, however, I think definitely for me, I think the first half, was a big surprise, really. I didn't expect us to press the way we did. If anything, I thought it was going to be the complete opposite. I thought Bournemouth was going to be pressing us a lot higher. I just think we, as a team, we pressed really high. We stopped them from playing out from the back, which is, something that they like to do. And I thought we looked really good in the first half.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I'll go on to my thoughts on the team selection in a minute. Tom, what did you think?
I completely agree with Tom in the sense that, we had a really good first half, but we said that about Wickham as well. Like, we went for that kind of pressing style. We were all over them. It was looking good. But then after a while, like, obviously at Wickham, after a while, there was just no success and we kind of gave in due to tiredness and whatnot. But no, at Bournemouth, we really took the game to them. And as usual, we took the lead and then you were kind of expecting to concede afterwards because I had no faith that we were going to hold that lead. I thought, despite the good play, we wouldn't keep it up. Maybe if Pedersen's goal had accounted, it might have been a different story at the end of the day. And we could be talking about a win or a draw, but every single time we concede, the heads drop.
Yeah.
Like they just drop. And let's be honest, that second goal that we scored to equalise, it didn't take much. It was quite a just simple cross from Sanchez that Hogan luckily got on the end of. But it wasn't like team play. It was just the two of them. And to be honest, even in my player ratings, those are the two that really stood out for me in the entire game. So no, despite a good start, it still wasn't good enough in the end for me, and I expected to lose even when we went 1-0 up. So
yeah, I think for me again, you look at the team sheet, and it was unfortunately we've said this a lot over recent weeks when we've sort of said, what do you think he's going to do and what should he do? And every time we say what we think he's going to do, he does it because he's got no imagination. And I don't know whether and I think these are the questions that need to be asked. Is he picking the team? Is he picking the team based on who's earning the most money? Is he picking the team as he is at the moment because he's scared to put the new players in because he didn't sign them? Because there comes a point when we see the same thing over and over again. We're getting the same result, i.e. a loss, over and over and over again. That you have to question the sort of mentality of why you're doing that. So for me, that was, standard, just poor team selection from my point of view. But then, I would, and I always will be there, I think, quite balanced in what my assessment of games. And I agree. I think first half, we were pretty good. I think we played some decent stuff. We had lots of chances. I mean, I've looked back at the highlights today, and even though the Pedersen disallowed goal, obviously the goal that we got, Sunjic has had a really good volley saved early on. There's been another couple of really good opportunities. So, I think first half, it was fine, and I think we've all got to be realistic and say, forget what's been before. Bournemouth away. What at the start of the season, what would we expect to get out of that game?
Yeah.
And the reality is probably nothing. But that being said, they were appalling first 25 minutes.
Yeah.
They looked like a a Premiership team that a little bit arrogant, just going to turn up, just going to win the game. And I think we massively sort of I think probably. Well, I was surprised, so they must have been surprised. So I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. I didn't think we were capable of that, and we did dominate. And as you both rightly say, we concede the first goal, but without. I mean, we'll come on to the second half in a minute, but my biggest issue is it's not so much. And Karanka keeps saying about individual mistakes. Well, if you keep picking the same players, those players, in my view, a lot of them aren't good enough. So it's the individual mistakes, like for the build up to their goal, Harley Dean doesn't get his header, so it's a launch. He misses his header. Okay, that happens. But then he's just in no man's land. He just doesn't get back. And all of a sudden, they've got a 3-on-2. So, we've got loads Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say it was like their third goal. I completely agree with you. I thought, I don't know if you remember it, but it was such a lazy tackle from Dean, just outside the area, half-heartedly, just poke your foot out. You don't need to put, he's not going anywhere. You didn't need to foul him there. It was 2-on-1. Yeah. And like you say, that, that's cost us another goal in the game.
Yeah. And I don't think there are sort of, yes, we've had the glaring mistakes like, Clayton and Etheridge has done a few, but these aren't glaring mistakes. They're just from players that aren't good enough. They can't concentrate. They don't keep their shape. I mean, Darren Pearce on the commentary was saying, Harley Dean, when there's a corner, it's like Christmas come early for him. He can't wait to get up there. He can't wait to stay up there. And then you've got Friend on his own at the back. And it's like, yeah, any chance of a bit of help? And I just, that for me is the biggest problem. So when we get into the second half, what I mean, I know you both said you probably expected to concede. What were your thoughts on the second half, Tom?
What I expected, to be honest. I think I have to say this as well. Bournemouth on their day are a good side, and I feel like they've played. You look at the way they played at St Andrews. That was a completely different style, and I do think that's down to obviously Jason Tindall was in charge of their first victory against us. But the way they played the other day was so Jonathan Woodgate, it was unbelievable. Like, you watch his time at Borough, it really reminds me of that opening game of the season last season that they played against Luton. I think that one finished like 3-3. But he is that kind of manager that's, high scoring. Doesn't matter how many you can see, just as long as we outscore the opponents.
Yeah.
And, they're not defensively sound, but that's not his style. And I feel like, that was expected. So would I say that I'm extremely impressed that we've scored 2 goals against Bournemouth? No, not really, to be honest. I'd have expected it against a Jonathan Woodgate side. Any other time, maybe against Jason Tindall, yeah, I'd have completely praised it. Even against back when Eddie Howe was in charge, 100% I'd have praised that. But I don't think there was much to take from it other than Scott Hogan by far was the player that was trying the hardest on the pitch.
Yeah.
Of anybody. So was Ivan Sanchez, but Scott Hogan in particular. And it was nice to see a tiny bit of fight for a change, but it still wasn't good enough at the end of the day, that second half. So,
no.
It was just expected, predictable.
Yeah. Tom G, what were your thoughts on the second half? Any highlights?
I think that, the one thing I do want to say, because I think, I definitely myself, I've criticised him a lot in the last few weeks. I thought that, the bringing on Lecco and Harper when he did, I think it was around about 60, 62 minutes or something like that. And I thought that was a brilliant time. I thought two players. And I thought, for the first sort of 10 minutes when they come on, I thought we looked like a much better side as well. The one thing I would like to say definitely about more Harper is, I think that athleticism, having that in the midfield, I think is a big plus. And I think definitely in the first half, and again, no disrespect to Sunjic because I do like the way he plays, but when he first come to Blues, he was playing as that sort of, deep lying sort of Perlo midfielder, and the positions he was in the other day, regardless, I mean, that was a really good volley. Obviously, he was unlucky with that, but the positions he finds himself in, whereas, if you've got someone like Jose who's a bit more attacking, he can make the difference. But again, I just feel like what Tom said with the first half, I feel like as soon as we can see the goal, I just feel like, it's just like heads go down and that's it. And having said that, Lecco and Harper came on and then there was a bit in, where Lecco got the ball and he just sort of rolled his studs over the top of it. It went out for a throw in, and I just, even I think Darren Pearce said it, just pass him the ball with the side of your foot, you're losing and then you're doing something like that. And for me, that epitomises it. I think they're clearly not all in it together, are they? You know, I think in certain stages of the game they are, but then, you know, like you say, whether the players disagree with substitutions or tactics or whatever, you know, but something isn't right there.
Just quickly on that, kind of just building off that, really, I know we obviously criticised Harley Dean quite a bit. I saw a tweet today that, you know, I agreed with and I didn't, maybe not towards the end of it, but it said, unpopular opinion, you know, Colin, Dean, Roberts, Pedersen all need to go because they're not good enough and they are going to take us to League One.
Well, and you know, that for me, this isn't, everybody knows. I think Harley Dean's the most overrated player. I don't know whether anybody rates him, but, you know, he's probably on 35 a week.
Scores an occasional header.
Yeah, but that's it. But the thing is, he's a centre half. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, well done. The amount of times he goes up, I'd hope he'd score a few goals. But for me, whilst it might be a bit harsh, I don't mind Colin at all, and I think Pedersen at times, even though he's painfully left-footed, I think that would be probably collateral damage. But I'd ship them all out. Because what are we going to bring in instead? A Premiership right back, a guy that's won something under 19s with England.
Yeah.
Who else have we got centre half? I put Friend in there, who again is superb.
That whole bench against Bournemouth could have been a starting 11.
Yeah. But again, you know, I don't want to. That first half was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is because they are, they're bearing the scars of last season and this. A lot of them. As soon as you concede, heads go down. Same with this when we went when they got the second. We hit a flat spot for about 10 minutes and we were totally useless. And then all of a sudden, let's just say Tom G, you know, maybe it was the substitutions that galvanised it a little bit. But there are just players there that, like I said, it's not that they're making blindingly obvious mistakes, but the shape yesterday was just, it was gone. We've gone from being, you know, 4-2 in front of the 4, never changes, never moves. And then, you know, you've got Sanchez that might as well just come play in the centre of the park. And it's, for me, it was sort of, we've gone from one thing to the other, which is fine. But like you said, Sunjic as an attacking midfielder, it's just brainless.
The thing is, and I'm, you know, I've always been one of his biggest fans in terms of, you know, his work rate and the way he started off at Blues. But I think, as you say, you know, you see him, he gets the ball in certain areas and, you know, he hasn't got that, like, sort of body shape that, you know, someone like Terrell or, you know, anyone really, Sanchez has got that, you know, to do that turn or, you know, bend it in the top corner, wherever. He hasn't got that. And, you know, that's no disrespect to him. But as you say, we've gone from, you know, being sort of behind the ball, Atletico Madrid style to then, like, you know, Leeds style all going forward. And you think there's no consistency there, is there?
We don't have the ability to do that.
No, exactly. No.
We don't.
No, and I just don't. And maybe it's worth just. I mean, finishing off of the game. Then, you know, I think we're all amazed we got it back to 2-2. And I would. I mean, I don't know. I think it was Hogan said after the game they thought they were going to go on and win it. And I think with that momentum of the way we'd still had the lion's share of the game, that we would go on and win it. Because bearing in mind they'd lost 4 on the spin, so they weren't actually, you know, brimming with confidence, and they were probably thinking, "Here we go again." And again, but the last goal, I mean, to give it away anyway was a joke. But what's Etheridge doing?
Yeah,
what's he doing?
And that's the thing with him. And you know, I rate him. You know, I think he's a good keeper. But you know, I'll stand by what I said. I think it was one of the first pods I did. And I just think personally, you know, they've gone out and, you know, just to link in with what you were saying about, you know, sort of wages and I was speaking to a guy now today and he was things. And honestly, the way, I mean, I wrote it down. I mean, Prieto's sitting on like 16 grand a week. Average is on 18 grand a week. And I think, you know, we've got a goalkeeper there. He possibly, you know, he's going to sign for a bigger club one day because he's highly rated. You know, and then, as you say, with, you know, Mark Roberts, I think he's on about 14 grand a week. You know, you got Harley Dean, 16 grand a week. And you think, I was surprised myself because I thought I was on a a lot less than that. But you think, these are players who, they're earning good money. It's not bad money, is it, in the Championship anymore either?
No.
And when they're not trying, I mean, I'm not saying they're not trying at all, but
honestly,
when
Tom,
they're not consistent,
I just don't think they're good enough. It's
No.
not about trying; it's they're
Yeah.
not good enough, and they've proven it season in, season out. They ain't good enough.
Yeah,
It's just it's
Exactly.
simple.
But
to
they're not-
arrange contracts with players like that and pay them that much is abysmal. I don't know what goes on there or who arranges what, but some of those, I just wouldn't sign him. I just
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Well,
Yeah,
it's like, no, again, I think, you can see what he's done and he's had a good career, but San Jose, he's on about, I think he was saying about 26, 27 grand.
Not
And people I've seen it on Twitter the last couple of days, people are saying, why is he playing? Why is he playing? But why do you think he's playing? There's got to be some pressure from above there. If you're paying someone that much money, nearly double what everyone else is on, then to me, that says he's got to play, really.
Yeah.
But I think with San Jose, again, a bit like we were saying before we started about when Karanka was appointed, it's the same when we've got San Jose. That's going to be a little bit cultured. That's going to be a wise head. That's not going to panic. But he's played centre half. He's played, and obviously when he's played in midfield, he's played a whole different range of positions there, or different requirements, I should probably say. I thought he was poor. I thought he was poor yesterday, and I rate him. I think he's a really good player, but I thought he was bloody awful yesterday.
Yeah, I think he's just a bit. I think he's just a bit erratic. At times, I think it was just after they scored their goal. He looked like he was blowing out his arse.
Yeah,
I know he's getting on a little bit, but this, as I say again, we said it before, haven't we? That's the difference between England and these Spanish, Italian leagues, isn't it? You get a lot more time on the ball over there.
Yeah. So, I mean, he didn't know what he was doing. Just hit him.
Yeah.
But again, San Jose let him get the run on him. Etheridge again. I don't think he's been the same since he's chucked it through a few in his own net. I think his shot stopping, he's always been consistent, but I think when he's trying to come to claim balls at the start of the season, he was coming to get those quite a lot. Whereas now he seems to be sort of shackled to his line more than he used to be. And if he'd have been a bit more commanding, then he'd have just plucked that one out of the air. So again, massively disappointing. And then we get to the aftermath. So, Tom, I take it you've heard Karanka post-match. What do you think? And what his future? Where do you see it?
I don't know. It's a weird one for me. I think it's same old comments from Karanka, to be honest. I'm just getting used to it now. Like, we played well. Didn't deserve to lose. It's just the same old stuff now, really, isn't it? I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear it anymore. I want him to be real. I want him to be honest. And that comes down to the media team as well. I'd rather we ask more challenging questions.
Yeah.
Obviously I know Brian Dick of the Birmingham Mail has recently started to ask a few more challenging questions of Karanka, but nothing is ever asked of the board. And I think that's just out of pure fear of destroying the relationship, because Dong is so, I suppose, erratic and just does crazy things out of the random. He won't be afraid to just go, see you later, lads. He won't care. So, I think that's a big thing at Blues as well at the moment is media. So, anyway, carry on.
But I was just going to say, I mean, there's been a lot of this over social media. I think I get why there's a clamour to ask the question. He ain't going to resign. Fact, he won't walk because he won't get paid off. So it's not really a question, are you going to walk? Well, of course he's not going to walk. Is he going to get the sack? He doesn't know he's going to get the sack or not. So the reality is, it's a pointless conversation. It's like, I can only liken it to Piers Morgan when he's got a politician just nailing him to the floor, just desperate for a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
We all know the answer, but he's got to keep going.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the focus should be certainly from, and again, what I said, when we were talking just before we started, we were all, and I would probably say 95% of Blues fans would have been really sort of positive when he was appointed. I don't, there's no point being after timers and saying, oh no, he was shite from day one, because he wasn't. It just seems to me that recently the wheels have fallen off a bit. And I think his mannerisms, he's not doing himself any favours where he's saying, I think the interviewer on Blues TV was trying to be quite positive about, the performance and the goals and Hogan and everything else. And every
Always
time he came back and he was saying, yeah, but more mistakes and we're back to square one. And that was his answer for everything. So I don't really know what that says to the players.
It's something that always makes me laugh, just listening to you then, John, saying that, because, I think when you do look on Twitter and that, and I mean, I can't really speak for other clubs because I don't look at other clubs' Twitter pages and that, but it's something that, I mean, I've found it funny myself. I've got into a couple of arguments on them myself for the last couple of days because, as you just said, Karanka ain't walking. He's not going anywhere because, he's not going to get paid. And the other thing, and I think a lot of people don't realise, I mean, they mustn't realise this because, people keep saying it. If he got sacked, I can't speak for him, but I'd probably say he's going to be happier because he's going to get paid more money. If you get sacked at a football club, you look at Mourinho in the past, the money he's made out of being sacked from clubs. So, is it really going to bother him that much? And I think the other thing is I've had a lot, I've seen it a lot. I'll let, get a Paul Cook in, get this in. I'd totally agree with this, but I think the thing is for me, and I think, a lot of other people would think the same. I feel like, it has really gone beyond that point now of, let's just get someone in short term, i.e. Gary Monk, keep us up. But then we're all pissed off a year later when he's not playing fancy football. So I think, it's sometimes, and I'm the same, I do it, every season, I look forward to it and I think, this could be the one, but I think, there's got to be some change. And as we said, whether that's, like Tom said, whether that's to do with, I think, media, being a bit more harsh on Blue sometimes. But then I suppose on the other hand, they need to, sell these pay-per-view matches at the minute, don't they? So that, they're not going to stick the nail in us, are they, I suppose?
No, but just on that quickly as well, I think this is the last straw for Dong and Karanka.
Yeah.
If the Karanka employment goes wrong, which it inevitably looks like it's going to, I think Dong will lose his job. He might not, but if we go down, I think that's the end for him.
I disagree. I think they're. It's the whole setup is beyond bizarre. They know nothing about football. That's obvious. I think he's just the guy. He's the face of the whatever organisation they are. I think the only way he goes is if Blues go into administration and the whole thing goes. I think he's there. End of. And it'll just be blame Karanka. And they've spent the money again. He's been. I just wish Gary Rowett had this amount of money.
Yeah.
We
would have seriously been knocking on the door.
Well, he could have done, but they sacked him because they didn't know who he was, and obviously there's rumours of him snooping too. But still.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think we were on one of talking to Darren Person, just saying, just remember the day. I remember exactly when I found out that he got sacked, and it's just. I mean, I know I keep saying it's just typical Blues. Nothing surprises me.
Well, at the time, that wasn't good enough, was it? And I remember, I think I was talking to you actually about it the other day because I said I remember going there because my granddad's an Ipswich fan, and we took my granddad. And I just remember sitting there and, I'll be honest, after the game, I think we were 7th or 6th in the league. But I remember thinking, bloody hell, it's a boring game this is. But we won 1-0. And like you say, but you look back on now.
And it, though.
Exactly. And you think, we've tried these other ways now, to play football and that. And I just think, sometimes you've got to stick to what you know, haven't you, really?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as far as Karanka... I don't think I can take too many more waiting an hour before kickoff to get the team sheet and be presented with the same bloody shit again. I don't think I can take it because on Saturday, I mean, what's Cosgrove thinking? What's he thinking?
Well, it was like, when he come on and, even my missus said it, she was like, there's 1 minute and 40 seconds left. What's the point? And I've never got that. I couldn't understand the substitution. If you're winning a game and you want to waste a bit of time or whatever, completely agree with it. But to bring someone on for just under 2 minutes with 1 minute two, and it's added. I just think, mate, that's just for me. That said it all the other day.
I bet Nisbet is thanking the Hibs chairman now. I bet the bad blood is gone. Oh, thanks, mate. I didn't see it, but I know now.
I'm just hoping that. Just something in his head, something just changes. But he's got he just strikes me very much in that Mourinho mould. He's just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. So either it changes and we start to turn it around. Yeah, or he gets sacked. You know, one of the two. And at the moment, I think the latter is probably more likely because the amount of pressure that's going to be on him. If again the next 4 games, I know Norwich is going to be a tough one, but the others with the squad that we've got, it's not the worst run of fixtures. But Rowett's going to have a point to prove. Luton play some really good football. You know, as I said Norwich are decent, and Sheffield Wednesday are down there with us. So, but if we get 9 points, it'd be a miracle. And that would save our season, I've no doubt. But what's the likelihood of that? I mean, if we can't beat Coventry in Wickham, then I don't really fancy it away at Millwall, to be honest.
To be honest, the only game I could see us winning there was away at Millwall, just because Millwall have been equally poor. But that doesn't mean I think we're going to win there. I think that might be the one that we get a point in. The rest, it's 0 for me.
Yeah.
See, I'll be honest. The last 3 or 4 years, you know, I think it's been about 4 now, and where it's come down to sort of the last day. I've always been very arrogant with it, and I've always shrugged it off and thought, well, we will never go down. But I just think, you know, this year, I think with the position that we're in, and you know the way we look when we play, you know, and I said this to you too yesterday. I think, you know, we got beat 4-0 against Derby not that long ago, and they're level on points with us. And for me, I think every time I think about that, I just think, you know, what hope have we got?
They're fighting more than we are as well, and that's worrying. But I don't know about you guys. Me personally, I thought last season we deserved to go down compared to some of those other teams that did go down. Like I thought we were worse, and I don't think.
Yeah, but I mean, I Pep for me got a load of clog, and I think it was unwarranted because before lockdown, when he was still in a job, because they sacked him during lockdown, that was obvious.
Yeah.
They sacked him and said, "I'll stay on." So obviously, all the players, and you know, a lot of them are still there. That it seems to me, if they can take the piss, they will. No manager say, "Yeah, I won't put a shift in." So that's what they did, and we didn't win any games. What did Pep? It wasn't his fault. I mean, some of the football that we played at the start of last season is as good as I've seen. The Blues, 100% it was. So we have it. It's just because he wasn't a name, and I suppose like any manager, you know, some of the stuff that he did was a bit bizarre at times, but at least we play football.
Yeah.
But you know, I just it's a massive worry, I think, for relegation. And this is, you know, we obviously, as Tom, you were saying there, we've been close, 4 or 5 times out of the last 7, and this one for me is the most worrying because he's that arrogant. He ain't going to change it. So either he needs to change or he needs to get sacked.
And the fans aren't there to save him this time either. There's no big Fulham at home, amazing atmosphere, nice sunny day, getting the players right up. You won't have that this year because let's be honest, I don't think we're going to be allowed back into.
Well, Sod's Law will probably get to go and watch them get relegated. To be honest, probably end of April.
Get to go when it's too late.
Yeah, look at this. So, just touching on, I guess wrapping it up. I thought it'd be interesting to see what our sort of thoughts were on, you know, those players that did start yesterday, and just sort of give our sort of individual ratings. And if anybody wants a particular rant, then the floor is absolutely open. Etheridge. So Tom G, what rating on him?
Probably say, you know, just a 6 out of 10 really. If we're going out of 10, you know, I think you know, that mistake he made at the end, you know, probably did it for me. But I do agree with you. You know, I just think there's times where he looks, you know, absolutely unbelievable in games, and then there's other times where, you know, you just think, well, especially for me, I think it's his kicking sometimes. You know, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of, you know, really playing out from the back anyway with your feet as a keeper, but you know, I just think sometimes his kicking, it looks. Yeah, when he connects well, he does go. But then, you know, there's other times where he tries to kick it out to the fullbacks and he just goes out for a throw-in or whatever. But yeah, I'd probably say 6 out of 10.
Yeah, Tom.
I went for 4 out of 10. Bit more harsh.
Yeah, go on, Tom.
I've been really harsh with this entire list because, you know, I feel like you have to be because, let's be honest, these performances aren't acceptable in their relegation form. So I can't really give good ratings to players that are in this situation unless they are particularly doing extremely well. Don't get me wrong, Etheridge, probably one of the best signings we've had for a while. Great keeper, but he is starting to become part of the head droppers now, really. Like, he has adopted that mentality and he's making so much more mistakes than he did when he first started. And it's noticeable. It's noticeable that the mentality is rubbing off on him because his performances have dipped. Maybe they've got a little bit better recently, but they're still not what he was. And we know he can be better. So, no, for me, I think even himself, he'd say that was below his standard. So I think a 4 was fair.
Well, I'd got down 6 on here, but I think I'd probably split the difference and say 5. He was at fault. I don't care what anybody says he was at fault for the last goal. If he was confident, he'd come out for that. And ultimately, that's cost us the point. So, I do worry about him. And I think you're absolutely right. There is an element of the players that didn't carry the baggage from last year and now getting it. I can see it. It's like a bloody,
curse.
Ironically, a virus, isn't it? I'm going to start open up with Pedersen. I gave him a 6. For me, Pedersen, it's a bit of a. I don't know. I don't get overly excited about Pedersen, if I'm being honest. He is what he is. He didn't have a bad game. Hell of a volley that he scored that was offside. He's got a good engine. His heart's in the right place, but as a footballer, probably not really for me. Anybody that's that left-footed, I mean, he's unbelievable. Yeah. He literally can't use his right foot.
Yeah.
So but he they were a lot worse, and he put a shift in, so he was a 6 for me. Tom G.
Yeah, I had 6 down for Peds as well. I thought, again, I just completely agree with you. I think, again, he never not tries in a game. He always puts a shift in. But I just think, technical ability wise, apart from that volley, obviously, because Leo the beer nearly went all over the sofa when that happened. I was watching Man City just for 20 seconds. But yeah, no, I'd probably agree with you. I put 6 down as well.
Tom?
I've gone for a 5.
Yeah.
For me personally, I actually thought that was one of Pedersen's better performances of late. So I was actually relatively impressed. And I'm telling you now, a 5 is a compliment on this list. So no, still wasn't a great performance from him, but it was an improvement on recent performances. And I think just for that alone, and the volley that could have been, I give him a 5.
Yeah. My friend and yours, our esteemed club captain, Harley Dean. Tom G.
5 I'll put down for him. Again, I'm not knocking his effort or, he's willing to try. But, for me, I'll probably even say a 4 now, actually, looking at it. I think, after thinking about a couple of mistakes, obviously, about with the goal as well, giving away the cheap free kick and just losing the ball. And again, he's just been there so many times now, made so many mistakes. And, I just don't think, as you've said, John, I don't think there's much more I can say other than get him out.
Tom?
I've gone for a 3. I thought his performance overall was quite horrendous. Probably the worst player on the pitch, to be honest. But, it's same old with Harley Dean. He's either the best player or the worst player on the pitch. He's never in between. For me, that Jack Wilshere headed goal alone deserves a 3. Because that was despicable positioning for me. I thought it was awful. I sat there and I thought, I have seen better positioning in my school team, in the 6-a-side team I've been in, and I thought it was schoolboy stuff. Like, why, unless we've been told to zonally mark, which I think is a death trap in itself anyway, naturally he should be man marking him. He's bigger, challenging for the header. It's Jack Wilshere, for goodness sake. Like, I can't believe it. But for that alone, he got a 3.
Yeah. For me, 2. And that's being generous. He's a shithouse. I'll tell you why. Because he watched Jack Wilshere. He got the best seat in the house. Watched him header it, and then as soon as he went in, he went looking for somebody else to blame, and that is him in a snapshot right there.
Yeah.
As I said, he missed the header for the first goal. Didn't track back. He watched him for the second goal, and then committed the foul for the third goal. So he's had hat trick. He's done well. And there have been times where I've opened up saying, well, I'll go back to the end of last season. The end of last season, I don't know, I think it was WM, and I phoned up and I absolutely just decorated him because he's shocking. And there's been a couple of, and Tom, I would agree with you, every now and again, and it is literally every now and again, I'm talking 2 out of 10 games.
Yeah.
He sort of, he looks good coming out on the ball. He might score one of his goals that he obviously likes coming up for all the time and playing sort of down that left-hand side or wherever wherever he pops up. And you're like, if this is the way a centre half plays, he's either right and everybody else is wrong, or more likely, he's a shirker. He don't take responsibility. That's why he dives in, because he ain't good enough, and he won't take responsibility. He's got the armband. He's like, right, you lot can do it. You crack on, guys. You mark him. And if he's in the team, I can promise you now, if that bloke's in the team for the rest of the season, we're gone. Yeah. Because as a club captain...
I was going to say, as captain as well. Mate, that's the other thing, isn't it?
You just think about some of the captains Blues have had. And okay, we're not exactly Real Madrid, but Jesus Christ, the captains we've had over the years that have been proper captains. Stephen Carr, Jesus Christ. What a professional, what a credit to the team.
Yeah. Stephen Carr was swearing at Villa fans. Harley Dean's swearing at our fans. That's the difference in itself.
It's literally, like I said, you've got him who is presided over one of the worst runs of recent years as captain, or you've got an England defender on the bench. Now, as long as I've got a hole in my arse, no one's telling me that Dean is better than Jake Clark-Salter. I don't care what he's done in the blue shirt. I don't care. I don't care if he's not a bit, not look great. I'll tell you what, if he had as many starts as Harley Dean, he's a better player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how close do you reckon Harley Dean's been to be like brought on and sort of nurtured by Chelsea? It's honestly, you look at it and you're like, what am I watching?
But it makes you think now as well. I mean, especially the stage right in the season now. And I mean, again, I think we said, I know he had an injury at the start, but what's the point in even signing him? He's going to go back to Chelsea in 4 or 5 months. There's only how many games left, and I just think
he'll be fresh, won't he?
Yeah, well, yeah,
he'll be fresh.
Yeah,
we'll only need a new pair of boots next season. Anyway, I can't be doing with it. Every time I look at him, every time I see his name on the team sheet, I just want to just jump out the window. Right, George Friend, I'm opening up. I gave him a 6. I think he was exposed by, as I said, our fantastic captain. If I was being mega critical, maybe a little bit tighter on the first goal, but it was a great finish. And I like him. I'd give him I'd literally drive, break the law, get the armband off Harley Dean, drive to George Friend's hours, and then just staple it to his arm. So just keep it on. So I gave him a 6. Tom G, thoughts? Tom?
Yeah,
sorry, mate.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give him a 7. Again, I think there was a possibility with the goal where he could have got a little bit tighter. But again, I love everything about the guy. Honestly, I think you just watch him on the telly and just you look at it was the other week for me. I think I can't remember. I think it might have even been the Man City game or the Coventry game. It's freezing cold and he's the only bloke. He's stood there in shorts and a t-shirt. And I just think for me, as you said before, I think you said it a couple of weeks ago, John. He is Blues all over it. And I think why he's not getting the armband, given your relationship he's already had with Karanka anyway. It's not like Karanka had Harley Dean at Middlesbrough for years or anything like that. So I'd just give him the captain's armband. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, not only has he not got the band, he hasn't been getting
he's not even playing. Yeah. It's like
fucking Jesus. Tom, you think
I've gone for Friend with a 5.
Yeah.
Same as Peds. It's not his fault that he was so exposed by Dean and Collins' poor positioning. Like he did the best he could in a bad situation. And, he can't match Danjuma in a pace battle, I'm afraid.
No.
Let's all be honest here. It's not happening. He did the best he could have. And I think George Friend, he's just been unlucky and he deserves to play more and he deserves the captaincy, like you've said.
Yeah.
I think he'd fare better with Mark Roberts next to him or Jake Clark-Salter. It's mad to think our two best central defenders aren't playing that much.
Yeah.
And I know they're both left-footed, but you look for some reason having two left-footed centre-backs seems to be a crime in football. Yet you look at how many they are, how many fucking two right-footed centre-backs, and it's like, why can't you do that with the left-footers? It just doesn't make much sense. But no, Friend, he was all right in a bad bunch. So as usual, I just thought a 5 was fair.
Colin, for me, I just gave him a 6. Again, I think he's solid. I do like him. I always have. I think he's, again, without boring everybody to tears, I just think at times he's exposed by the guy in front of him at times. But all in all, I thought he was decent. He shows a lot of passion and a lot of willingness to get forward. So I gave Colin a 6. Tom G?
Yeah, I'll give him a 7 actually. And I thought he had a brilliant game. Again, I think there's times where he does look a bit exposed, but I don't think that was, as you said, I don't think that was his own fault. But I just think, I think I said it the other day about Bella, and I said everything good sort of comes through him, and I probably disagree with that. I think, just after watching us the other day, I think a lot of good things do come through from Colin and his hard work rate. Especially, he's in very tight, he gets out of a lot of tight situations that you don't think he's going to win the ball back as well. But again, it's just consistency for him. But I put 7 down for him because I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah.
You guys are going to hate my rating. I slapped a 4 on him.
Okay.
You know what? It's just down to one moment. Going back to that Dan Juma moment where he's broke away down the left Friend on his own. Sorry, why is Maxime Colin in midfield? The remote was almost through the telly. I was so angry that Maxime Colin was that far forward and had left us completely exposed at the back. I couldn't believe it. I know Harley Dean had a big part to play in that goal happening, but Colin's got to take some on the chin as well. And obviously he's nowhere near as awful as Dean, but I just, for that alone, I give him a 4. But he did his bit here and there in parts of the game that you can praise him for. But I don't really want to praise any of the team for that performance because it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
It just wasn't.
Yeah. Next, Sunjic, I'm losing the will to live with him. I am. If I think I said it last week, if this was about how much you run around and it wasn't football, then he'd be playing the Champions League. Unfortunately, it's about actually being able to play football, and he can't. He can't. He had again fair play, good volley in the first half, but he's finding himself in advanced positions. Never looks like scoring. Walking yellow card. He just doesn't get his. I mean, one of the guys that he's now disappeared, McGree. McGree's done more in the very, very, very limited time he's had in that team than than Sunjic has done all season.
Why isn't he playing?
Just the times that he's just. I think it was Luton that he played. I think it was. And it was just little, like real basic give and goes, little 3 and 4 yard passes, moving off the ball.
Away as well.
Yeah, anyway. So no, Sunjic. I just, for me, again, when I see the team sheet, if he's on it, I'm like, okay, well, another pointless player on the pitch. So I gave him a 4. Tom.
Go on, Tom.
Sorry, I was just going to say Tom. It was going to happen eventually. No, I'll just make it quick. I gave him a 5. I didn't think he was as awful as some of the defenders behind him, but he was still a bit messy, particularly in the second half. Not the player, just his style.
I'll tell you what, there's one player he definitely isn't, and that's Messi.
No, the second half he was all over the place, but first half, especially right at the beginning, he was looking to get in good areas. He had that volley chance. He didn't look too bad first half, but second half was just really, really poor. But no, I give him a 5.
Yeah, I'll give him a 5. But actually, I think the reason I give him a 5 and not lower is because I still don't think personally, I don't think he wants, I don't think he's probably that, I don't think he's comfortable with playing in that position. I think he's being asked to do a job there. And I think I'd agree with you what you said, John and Tom, really. I think sometimes, I don't think he's a brilliant football player, but I think if he was asked to do the basics, what he was doing before, it might be a different story. But as we've said, he likes Sanyoza in that position. But if it was me, I would put Sunjic in the position he's playing, and I'd play 2 just in front of him and just tell Sunjic to sit there, just like I think Clotet did it last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to San Jose. I'd give him a 5. I think that was one of his. Yeah, but his range was off. His passing was off. He lunges in. I don't think he played particularly well on Saturday, and I do like him. I think he's obviously got that pedigree. He's played at a decent standard. At times he looks really good on the ball, but I think he's starting to look a bit leggy. He's played a lot, and I think Tom G, you mentioned earlier, he's not used to the pace of English football, and playing twice a week, the age he's at. I would certainly be looking to, maybe give him a rest and look at Harper and we'll talk about Gardner in a minute. But no, for me, it was a 5. It was just quite. I wouldn't say lazy is probably unfair. He just didn't seem on it. Just didn't seem on his game at all to me.
No.
Tom, what do you think?
I gave San Jose a 6.
Yeah.
I thought first half, I was quite impressed. Going forward, wasn't too bad. It's hard to pick out positives from that performance alone, to be honest. But no, I thought it was okay. But I agree, he does look tired, and I do think that's down to what Tom mentioned earlier, actually, about pressure from the board above. He's probably the highest earner we have, let's face it. And there will be pressure for him to play every game. Even if it's not the right choice tactically or for his fitness. At the end of the day, we keep forcing him to play games. He's going to get injured. He just is. And it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But no, I thought defensively he was actually okay in the second half. He kind of switched a bit, but no, it's still a poor performance at the end of the day. So no, I went for 6.
Okay, Tom G.
Yeah, I went for 5 again. I agree with both. I thought it was just a very bit of a blasé performance, really. And I think sometimes, I think I like seeing getting on the board. Do like to see him doing that, but I think the problem is, and I think I do criticise him a lot sometimes. But I think if he had the players he's probably used to have been playing with before, in Spain, and as we said, with the tempo as a game. Sometimes there's not options for him. So I suppose, when he does get the ball at his feet and he's looking around and he ends up passing it back to the defender or left back or whatever. But yeah, I'll probably say a 5. I thought it was just a steady performance.
Yeah. Bella, I'll give him a 7. He's just, it's just in the context of what we are at the moment, the only real, one of the very few sort of shining lights for me. I think he, again, was a threat. I think at times his delivery needs a little bit of work, but I'm not going to criticise him for that. But for me, Bella was a 7. Tom G.
I've put 7 down as well. Again, I think like we said before, he just seems to be the bright spark. Even when we don't look like creating, he can beat a man and put it past the player. And I think it's something that we haven't got too much of. Someone who just wants to run at someone and beat them.
Yeah. Tom.
I gave Bella a 6. I don't think it was a bad performance. Really, again, just best of a bad bunch. Wasn't much he could have done. He did his usual, one of our more hard-working players at the moment. Tried to cause problems, but it just wasn't his best game at the end of the day. I'd say it was a bit, standard. Didn't do all too much, but he linked up well with a few nice quick movement passes and stuff in the first half, but standard really, just average. So 6 was fair.
Gardner, he's now getting, seems to be back in favour, which I'm a big fan of. and he's sort of playing in a more natural position than the times he was coming on and playing wide, which was bizarre. But I gave him a 6. I thought he was solid. I think again he was making those runs forward. I definitely think we're better as a team when he's playing in it. And I think that he does bring a little bit of personality into that team. And obviously, as a Blues fan, I think we need him now going into the, what are going to be every game's going to be, that sort of cup final. So I think he did all right. I gave him a 6. Tom G.
I thought he played really well. I'll give him a 7. Just from what I've been saying the last few weeks, really about. I think he did it in the first half, didn't he? Where he got the ball, he ran past about 3 players, took it 2 or 3 past 2 or 3 players, and just again, something you see a lot of, the other half, isn't it? With Grealish, he runs forward and people bring him down, and sometimes it's what you need. At the start of the year, I wouldn't have wanted him to be in the team, but I think having seen the way the season's gone, I think as you just said, being a Blues fan and that, I think you can see that bit of grit between his teeth where he does want to try. So I'll put down 7 for him.
Okay. Sanchez was back to his. I gave him a 7. I thought he was non-existent at Wickham. As I said, I don't think he was quite ready for Tuesday night at Wickham in a monsoon. He didn't suit him. But I thought he was very good. And he has been very good. He's a very good footballer. I don't think we use him in the right way at times, but. Again, one of the few shining lights of this season. And I think he's got a massive, massive part to play. If we're going to pick up points, he's going to be front and centre of making sure that happens. Again, lovely ball in for the second goal. He'll do that all day. I think at times he can be a little bit lightweight. I've said it before, and he gets shoved off the ball. He just needs to be, I think, a little bit more quicker in his decision making on the ball when he's sort of in that more of a defensive. When he's facing his own goal. He's great when he's bearing down on people, but I think at times his decision-making can be a little bit poor because he probably thinks he's got more time than he has in obviously in the Championship. So, but no, I thought he was solid. I thought he was good. Would have run very close to man of the match for me. So, I gave him a 7. Tom?
Just quickly touching back on Gary Gardner, I gave him a 6.
Oh, sorry, mate.
It's all right. I gave him a 6. I do agree with you. He's the sort of player we need right now, and I'm sure a lot of Blues fans will agree. That drive and desire. So hopefully he can bring that over the coming weeks if he gets more games, because he was one of our better performers back end of last season. So no, I agree with you there. Sanchez, I give him a 7. I thought he was at the heart of the creativity that we had in the game. He was a little bit back to his best after that poor Wickham game. So no, that was nice to see. But again, it wasn't his best performance, but it was good compared to what we had. And certainly in that first half, he really caused Bournemouth problems. So solid 7 from me.
Okay, and then I suppose finally from the starting 11, Hogan. I think we said it. Yeah, because he obviously didn't play, did he, in the game against Wickham? Played Djukovic, of course we did. But Hogan, I think I said ever since the Man City game, he's really looked up for it, and he's been close to scoring, and he just felt like that was going to come, and he did. And I'll put it this way: if he gets into that run of form of scoring like he did when we first got him on loan. Again, with Sanchez and probably Gardner and Bella, they're going to be the real sort of they're the players that we're going to need to get us out of the situation we find ourselves in. And let's just hope that Hogan does go on one of those fantastic scoring runs because we're going to need it. Yeah, Tom G, what rating?
Again, just for his 2 goals, I think more than anything, strikers are in there, aren't they, to score goals. And I put a 9 down for him. I thought his work rate was brilliant. I think, when you was on about that Man City game, I don't know whether him and Karanka, had a little talk after that or, before the next game. But I just think since then, he's looked a different player off the ball. I think, I think it was Darren Pearce again who said it the other day, strikers, even when they're not scoring goals, they've got to be working hard to get themselves in them positions. And I think he started doing that whether, maybe him sitting at home watching Sky Sports News on transfer deadline day and him seeing 2 new strikers comes in, probably put, a bit of a rocket up his arse or something to play better as well. But I thought, if like you said, if that's something we're going to really need, a consistent goal scorer and to stay up, I think, someone who's going to score 5, 6, 7 goals, I think at least.
Yeah. Tom?
Yep, I give him a 9 as well. He was, by far the best player on the pitch.
If he'd have stayed on, he'd have got a 10.
He would have, yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
I thought he was fantastic. It was great to see him really get stuck in. He was actually epitomising kind of the drive and desire that we need in that team. And Scott Hogan's not that type of player. So to see him just try and be kind of more passionate, getting forward and just trying to be at the heart of everything was nice to see. It was kind of like, pre-lockdown Hogan again. He just needs to maintain that form now because he has been playing well last couple of games, just not been scoring. But no, that Bournemouth game, I reckon, will do him the world of good, definitely.
No, agreed. And then I suppose I'm not going to necessarily, obviously with subs, it's difficult to rate them. I think my highlight was I really like Harper. I think we've got something. I think we've got something there. I think when Cosgrove comes, just his presence, he looks a big lad. Again, not that means anything, but if he's going to be a younger version of Dukey and be that battering ram, then at least I saw him on the pitch, which was refreshing. So I mean, I haven't rated necessarily any of the subs. Any sort of positives from the substitutions, Tom?
I gave Harper a 6 and Lecco a 5. I didn't bother with the other lads because I don't think they played long enough. But no, I thought Lecco on and off average when he came on, made a few poor mistakes, but still not the worst player on the pitch. Harper looked really promising and bright, and I don't know why he isn't starting because he's probably one of our best midfielders. And there's real potential there. Really reminds me of kind of that Bellingham-esque player, but just a bit more deep maybe. But no, I was pleased with Harper, and hopefully he gets a few more starts because he deserves it just from that alone. Really, that brief performance.
Definitely, Tom G.
Yeah, just to agree with both you, mate. Harper, I think definitely looks like someone who's going to have to start. I think we said it before. He played in a season where Albion went up, played 2 seasons for him. I think actually, played really well. So he's a proven Championship player. I think we look a lot more athletic with someone like him in the midfield. Lecco again. I don't know. When I always think he should start a game, he ends up coming on, and I just think he just doesn't look bothered sometimes. So I don't know. I think there's a player in there, and I think I think he won like under 70. I think he won some. I don't know what it was when he was younger, like England's best player of the year.
Or something.
That was it. Yeah, he was nominated for that, and you can see it sometimes when against Man City when he was taking it past good players, but then. I just think, with a lot of players, we seem to get like that where they come from other clubs. It's like, they've got a lot to prove and, get on with it and prove it. Don't keep shrugging your shoulders every time you lose the ball or something doesn't go your way, get stuck in. So yeah.
I for me, you're right. Lecco, Man City, I thought we turned the corner. We haven't. Just that sort of, when he literally doesn't pass the ball. He never uses the inside of his foot when he's passing the ball. He's either rolling it with his studs or outside of the boots. And it's like, mate, if you were that good, fine. But yet to see it, really yet to see it.
He struggles to impact off the bench. But to be honest, in his defence, when we beat Reading 2-0, wasn't it? No, was it 2-1 or 2-0?
Anyway, 2-1, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2-1 Reading away. He was fantastic in that game. And I think everyone was praising Lecco afterwards, and then he hasn't started him after.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
City game.
So, I can see that.
Imagine being him, puts in a proper performance just to not get picked for loads of games afterwards. Like, it doesn't make sense, and it would demotivate you as a player. It certainly demotivate me. I just question my manager. Yeah,
well, but that's a very good segue as we now sort of look to wrap it up. I'm not going to actually mark him out of 10 because I can't do a minus figure. What infuriates me, and again, it's arrogant. What's he writing on that notepad? Is it just weird shit, and then he goes on to the next one? Is that it?
Probably writing down his Chinese.
Mate, honestly, he's. I think for the third goal, he was making notes, and I'm like, and he definitely missed their first goal. Definitely,
yeah.
He was again. Don't know what he was doing. Bit of yeah, like you said, doing his sort of just eat order or whatever it was. But it's again, mate, you're not that good. You're not that good. It doesn't matter what you're writing on there. Get your arse off the seat and actually lead. I mean, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. So, yeah, again, I think if he was half as good as he thought he was, then we wouldn't be in the shit that we're in. But if I keep seeing that, and I'm like, what does that say to the players? But he's got a big job on his hands. So, Tom, thoughts on the manager as we wrap up?
I was more happy with Hogan's reaction at the end of the game, to be honest, than Karanka's body language throughout. You know, seeing that passion from Hogan to be so devastated that we didn't win the game. I'd rather see more of that from Karanka rather than just constant straight face. Even when we score, constant straight face. There's no passion. Like, do you reckon in the changing rooms when he's trying to, motivate his players for the next half? Because those players need motivation. Like, they need it. And it's clear to see. But I'm sure he's just there, look, I want you to go here, I want you to go there. And it's like, I'm not going to be sat there and motivated. I'm not going to go out there with fire in my belly. Like, I just don't see any passion from him. And in fairness, I think he showed more passion at Middlesbrough. I remember seeing him a bit more, lively on the touchline than he is with Blues. I just think it's a bit questionable, to be honest. Needs to take a look at himself.
Tom G, finally, what your thoughts on our manager?
Yeah, I think I was very, very happy when he got appointed, and I think as Tom was just saying, I think the passion thing. I mean, I know he did show it a little bit when Middlesbrough. I remember him sliding on his knees when Middlesbrough went up. But I feel like there's a lot of, especially Spanish, Italian, French managers where that they start talking, and I feel like sometimes they say these things. They know the crack, they know what's coming, and as you said before, they kind of just answer the stupid, ironic answers just to get on with it, really, don't they? And just finish the interview. But I think he knows the pressure's on him now, and I think as you said, it's probably a good job that the fans aren't in the stadium at the minute to put that pressure more on him. But I think he's definitely under pressure. He's come out. He's already started slagging, moaning about fans and stuff. And as I said the other day, I think when you do that, you're on a losing battle. But as you said, he's not going to walk away. Whether he's sacked and they're going to pay the money is another thing. But I don't think it'll happen.
No, I think we definitely we've got him for another few games. And honestly, I hope we're here in the Championship this time next year, and he's turned it around. He found the formula. I just don't see it with other. With other managers, I've always felt there's been maybe a light at the end of the tunnel. At the moment, there isn't a tunnel. He needs to. Hopefully, just have a look back at his notebook and see if there's any inspiration in there.
He was drawing a picture of when he slid on his knees at
whatever he's doing, I'd be really interested to see that. But we've got a few crucial games coming up now. Good thing, I think we've got some time off, and we can prep for the coming game. But for now, guys, thank you very much for running through that very sort of disappointing but bit Groundhog Day performance from the lads, and you never know, maybe he'll start to put a bit of a different sort of shape on it with some of the new signings he's put in, and they start to get a run out. I think we would all hope for that. So, but in the meantime, thanks everybody for downloading the pod. Remember, go to bluesfocuspod.co.uk, a new website where you can subscribe and download. Or indeed, if you're downloading on iTunes, then please leave a comment and rate us. It's massively appreciated. But for now, from myself and the two Toms, guys, thanks a lot. And brilliant. And we will be back with you, whether that be to preview or sort of review the coming game. But thanks a lot, and keep writing.